welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to film a books I read in 2023 video. So today we're gonna jump right in. I read 26 books this year, and to start the review I'm gonna count down 26 to 1 being my top book of the year. So let's go ahead and get started. I have Wreck the Halls as my number 26 on my list. I rated this one a 2.5 stars just because it kind of dragged on for a while in my opinion. I thought it started off really strong and I liked the concept of the book, but towards the middle things just kind of started to get repetitive between beat and melody, and the ending was sort of predictable in my opinion, which is why I gave it a 2.5 stars. The next book on my list is The Bookstore Sisters. This is my number 25. So this was just a short story on Amazon and I found it really cute. Obviously it's about sisters who own a bookstore together and it was really adorable, but it just wasn't very memorable for me. So that's why I ranked it number 25. Number 24 is along the same lines. It is The Gift by Freida McFadden. It was a really good book. It definitely had a twist that I did not see coming, and I love that about her books. But it was a short story and I read it towards the end to kind of try to reach my reading goal faster. I rated this one 4 stars out of 5 stars. The next book on my list, coming in at number 23, is Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. She is one of my favorite authors of all time. But this book was just really sad. If I have to describe it, it's just a very sad book. It's about a tragedy, and that was kind of hard for me to read. It definitely was interesting, and like I said, I love her writing style, but I found that I couldn't recommend this book to my friends simply because of how sad it was, and I knew that, you know, most of my friends don't really like to read sad books, me included, so that's why I'm ranking this one at number 23. I did give it 3.5 out of 5 stars though, because it was a good book. It was just really sad. Coming in at number 22, we have A Welcome Reunion. This is a short story that I found also towards the end of the year when I was trying to round up my reading goal. And I really liked this short story. I found it very interesting. It is sort of a sequel to The Perfect Child, also by Lucinda Berry, which I have not read yet, but I found that I could still understand this short story even though I haven't read A Perfect Child. But it's definitely on my reading list for 2024, and I rated this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Number 21 is The Inmate by Freida McFadden. I rated this book a 3 out of 5 stars. It was really good. I really like Freida McFadden's writing as well. She is a very fast-paced author. I find that her books are super short and quick and I can read a lot of them in a short amount of time, but I also really like her writing style. I have learned to love psychological thrillers because of her, and you will see that on my list. She is my most read author this year. This one was just not as memorable as the other ones. Coming in at number 20, I have It's Not Summer Without You. I really liked this book, but it was definitely not my favorite. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars simply because it was not as good as The Summer I Turned Pretty. It was a short, quick read. I found it really cute. I definitely love the series. This just wasn't my favorite out of the 3. Number 19 on my list is The Coworker by Freida McFadden. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars as well. This was a very interesting story. It definitely had a twist at the end that I did not see coming whatsoever, which is also why I really like these thrillers. It was a very unique concept. The whole storyline is based upon a girl and her coworker, obviously, and her coworker is missing for work one day, and her coworker is a very like type A personality, always on time, always early, very predictable routine, and she's gone. So it kind of explores the concept of where did the coworker go and why is all of this happening. I really enjoyed this book though. It just wasn't my favorite Freida McFadden for sure. Number 18 on my list is The Cabin at the End of the World. So this one is sort of a thriller, I would say, but it's more of like a horror thriller. It was a genre that I had not really read yet, which is sort of why it was a little bit harder for me to read. It's about a cabin and a family that goes on a little vacation, and things just take a twist when someone shows up at their door, and that's kind of the whole concept. It just pretty much takes place over 1 to 2 days, I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I read this one, but I rated it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I definitely think I would read Paul Tremblay again after reading this one. It was just kind of hard to get into because of the whole horror aspect of it, but I really did enjoy it, and I think I will read more books like this in 2024. Coming in at number 17, we have Family of Liars. I was really looking forward to this book, and it kind of disappointed me a little bit. I loved We Were Liars. The whole concept of the book really threw me for a loop, and this is the prequel to that book. I found that it did not come close, in my opinion. I was really looking forward to this book, and I went to Barnes & Noble, and I was just looking at it and thinking about getting it when one of the Barnes & Noble's employees was like, I think it's better than the first one, you should definitely read it. And so I was like, okay, I'll have to get it. And even my friend who I went with was like, you've been thinking about that one for a while. So I bought it. I did not find that it lived up to the hype. However, I did give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. At number 16, we have Never Lie by Frida McFadden once again. I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's about a psychologist who sees clients at her house, and it just takes a turn when one of her clients is not really who they seem to be. The whole concept of this one is like never lie to her, because she can tell when you're lying, and she says everyone has a tell. It was very interesting coming from someone who is going to be a therapist in a year. I found it slightly terrifying, but also very interesting. Number 15, I put We'll Always Have Summer. I definitely liked this book a lot more than It's Not Summer Without You. It was a good way to end the series, in my opinion. I know some people might not agree with that, but I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It definitely made me love the series more than the second book did, or the first book. Honestly, I think this one might be my favorite just because of the ending. But things definitely took a turn in here. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. And so that kind of made me not want to read it, so I put it down for a while. But I finally picked it back up around October, and I was able to finish it pretty quickly. So I really liked this one. Like I said, I definitely love the series way more than I like the books on their own though. And the TV show is pretty good. Leave me a comment down below letting me know, are you team Conrad or team Jeremiah? I'm definitely team Conrad forever and always. Number 14 on my list, I put Ward D. This was one of my favorite Frida McFadden reads of the year. It is about a medical student who is doing her clinical rotations at a psychiatric ward in a hospital, and she knows someone who is in the hospital. It kind of tells the story around that and just the things that happen in the ward at nighttime, which get pretty crazy. I rated this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Next on my list, I have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So I started the Harry Potter series this year, and I got through the first 5 books. I'm currently reading number 6, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince right now. I'm listening to it as an audiobook, and if you guys have not read Harry Potter, or you want to, or even if you have read it and you haven't listened to the audiobooks, I really recommend them. The guy who reads the stories is Jim Dale, and he just has such a way with like audiobooks. He makes it really interesting, so I highly recommend that. But this is one of the books that I actually just read. I didn't listen to the audiobook, and I found that I really did like it. There is nothing wrong with the book. It started a little slow, but I really did enjoy it a lot. It just wasn't my favorite of the Harry Potter books that I read this year. Number 12 on my list is Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I love Carly Fortune. She's a great author. If you haven't read any of her books, you definitely should. I really like Every Summer After, so I was super excited when I saw this one on the shelf. And the cover is just so cute, so I had to pick it up, of course. I rated this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked the book, and I read it on the lake on my family's vacation this year, so maybe I'm a little biased for that, but it felt really cozy and good, and I really liked this book. Number 11, I put Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. This is actually the only Colleen Hoover book I read this year, which is crazy because she's kind of what got me into reading more back in 2021. I've read a lot of her books by now, so I'm not too surprised that she's not on my list more this year. But I read Hopeless. It was, I think, my first book that I finished of the year, and I remember I really, really liked the story. I believe it's of Grayson and Sky. It's a heartfelt book, but there are definitely some triggers in there. So I just wanted to let you guys know if you decide to read it. Definitely look into the triggers before you decide. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. You can never go wrong with a Colleen Hoover book, in my opinion, as she is what got me back into reading. All right, so we are down to the top 10. Coming in at number 10, I have The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. This book is so good. If you have not read thrillers before, or you are looking for one to get you started, I highly recommend this one. It came with, I keep saying this, I know, but it came with a twist that I really did not see coming. It's about a girl who is a surgeon, and she is the daughter of a famous serial killer, but he was taken away from her family and her life and put in prison forever when she was a young girl. And she lost her mother, so she's kind of just grown up with her grandmother, and it kind of tells the story of her life in the present as a surgeon. It's a really great book. I rated it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Number 9 is After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I loved this book. I really loved this book because it's kind of like a realistic love story in a way. I know a lot of the books that I read are like love at first sight or, you know, totally romance. This one is much more like realistic, but it shows that people can make it through a lot, but things still get hard, and I really like that it showed in the book. Things still get hard in books too. It's about two people who are married, and they are on the brinks of splitting up, so they decide to take a year apart. And it kind of follows both. It follows Lauren, who is the main character, throughout that year of self-discovery, and brings you back towards the end of the book. The year is over, and it's a decision that she has to make to either stay married or get a divorce. And it's a really, really great story. I highly recommend this one. Coming in at number 8, I have Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is the Harry Potter book I just finished recently. It's number 5. I rated it a 4.75 out of 5 because, once again, the start of the book was really slow for me, and it took me a long time to get through this book. It was definitely the biggest book I read this year. I think it says that it's like 912 pages or something. Or at least that's what the ebook is. I really enjoyed it. I love Harry Potter now. This Harry Potter book follows Harry in his, I want to say it's in his 5th year. He's supposedly like, I think he's 15 in this book. And he is discovering a lot more about himself and what he wants to do in his future. And of course, there's always like the knowledge that Voldemort is still existing somewhere throughout the story. So it really got great at the end. It made me really hate Professor Umbridge. If you have read Harry Potter or seen the movies, you know I really hate that lady. But the ending was great, and like I said, I've already started the 6th book. This book left me at a point where I was like, I need to know what's happening next. So I started it immediately after, and so far into the 6th book, the beginning is not nearly as slow as I thought the other few that I have read is. So I'm really excited to keep reading these. Similarly, number 7 is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Once again, I can't say enough good things about the Harry Potter series. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I really loved it, but I did read it probably back in February, I think, so I can't really remember much of what happened, if we're being honest. I've just been kind of thinking of the series as a whole, but I did rate this 5 stars when I finished it in February. Number 6 is The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. I love the Housemaid series. It is totally my favorite Frida McFadden series. Well, I think it's like one of her only, if not her only series, but I love the story of the housemaid. I love everything about it. It kept me guessing, as I keep saying. It kept me on my toes, made me want to know what happened next, and that's why I read these books so fast. She's also just an author who writes really simple, and I really like that because I just turn my brain off. I really feel like I'm in the story with the characters. I rated this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. Alright, now we're in the top 5. Coming in at number 5, I have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This is the only Harry Potter book that I have a physical copy of. My friend got it for me for my birthday, and she didn't want to buy me the whole series in case I didn't like it. But wow, I love this. I'm definitely planning on buying all of the physical books when I finish the series, but I do have Kindle Unlimited, which is why so many of my books are ebooks. So I plan on reading them as long as they are on Kindle Unlimited or listening to the audiobooks, because I downloaded Audible because the Harry Potter books are so long and drawn on usually. But this one was so fast. Obviously it's the smallest book, but it is a great start to the series in my opinion, and of course I rated this one a 5 out of 5 stars. For my books of 2023, I have The Housemaid. Like I was just saying about The Housemaid's Secrets, these books are so good. They are just absolutely amazing. They keep you guessing. You wonder what's going to happen next. Everyone who I have recommended this book to has said that they absolutely love it. And so many of my friends have read it, and we love this book. I know that this one is much more popular and gets better reviews than the second one. So if you're looking for a thriller book, like I said before, The Locked Door is a great one to start with, but The Housemaid is probably my number 1 recommendation for someone who wants to read a book by Frida McFadden. Number 3 on my list is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love this book. I know it's a very popular opinion. Lots of people love this book. They even made a show about it. In my opinion, after watching the show, I think the book is still a lot better. For those of you who don't know, it is a very unique concept. The book is written in like interview form, so it comes from like different point of views from each of the characters in the book. The ending is great, the beginning is great, the middle is great. I cannot say enough great things about this book. I was so excited to read it. There was so much hype around it, and I really see why after reading it. I completely agree with the hype, which is why I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Number 2 is The Happy Place by Emily Henry. I love Emily Henry. I've read almost all of her books. Happy Place is definitely my favorite out of them, and that's coming from someone whose number 1 book last year was Book Lovers. I really like that book too, but Happy Place was just so cozy. It was happy, obviously. There was definitely a lot of trials that Harriet and Wynne had to go through, but just the setting being in Maine. The East Coast summer vibes were really strong in this one, and it really made me love it so much. If you have not read this yet, I highly, highly recommend. I'm telling all of my friends to read this book. It was so good. All right, you guys, and coming in at number 1 on my list of books that I read in 2023 is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which is the 4th book in the series. This book I rated like 1,000 out of 10. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it is so good. It's definitely my favorite book out of the whole series, so far at least. It is not the best movie. When I watched the movie, I was really upset because they cut out a lot of good parts of the book, but I understand that they can't make a movie that is 24 hours long. So I really enjoyed this one. It's when Harry goes to the Triwizard Tournament and all of that stuff happens. It's all the craziness. The end of the book was just absolutely amazing. So I really highly recommend those. Definitely the top 10 books, but specifically I guess the top 5. The Harry Potter series for sure, The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, Daisy Jones and the Six, and Happy Place by Emily Henry. Those are my top recommendations for you guys this year if you have not read those yet. I also wanted to come on and end the video by giving you guys a little sneak peek of what I'm going to start reading in 2024. So the first book that I'm going to start reading is Fourth Wing. This one is super popular, I know. I've already started it, and so far it's really good. I just did not read it this year. I did not have any reason not to read it, except for that I had a lot of other books I wanted to read, but my friends have been begging me to read this one, and I'm so excited to finally get to start it. And I got it for Christmas, so that's also why I had to wait a little bit. But so far it is really great. I also want to start the year off reading Do Not Disturb by Frida McFadden. I actually might get to finish this book today. It's a quick read and I have no plans for the rest of the day, so I'm thinking about just going ahead and finishing this one if I can. But if not, it'll be one of the first books that I finish in 2024. It is really good so far. It's a Frida McFadden book, so it's definitely a comfort author for me, and I have really enjoyed reading it thus far. In 2024, I also want to read Colleen Hoover more. I wanted to pick up with Maybe Someday. My cousin is like a huge fan of this book. She told me it is her favorite Colleen Hoover book ever. Specifically, the Maybe Someday series is her favorite. So I'm definitely going to take that recommendation, and I want to start reading this one soon. Finally, the last book I'm going to get started with in 2024 is The 7-Year Slip. I know a lot of people who are super crazy about this book. One of my friends has reread this book a few times and she posted about it, and I was like, I definitely need to read this one. Her name is Emily. I will link her bookstagram down below, but I am really excited to read this. I got it for Christmas from my friend Gabby, so thank you, Gabby. I cannot wait to read this book. I'm so excited. So that is all for my what I read in 2023. I hope I gave you guys some good recommendations, or if you guys have any books that you would recommend that I read in 2024, please leave a comment down below and let me know. If you want to follow me on my bookstagram, my TikTok, or my Goodreads, or anything like that, I will make sure I have them linked in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next year. Bye.